Welcome to the Brotherhood Beyond Business podcast, where we discuss how to become the CEO of our own lives. Today's guest is Danny Mullen of Raw Fitness. He's also a co-owner of Level Up and the Mastermind program. Danny, tell us a little bit about yourself and your business and why you love masterminds.
Yeah, Trevor, I've been in business now. I own a gym here, kind of the Metro Detroit area here in Michigan. And I've owned the gym for we're coming up on our 8-year anniversary. And I've been a part of a mastermind group for almost all 8 of those years, because I really just, getting into it. There's a certain book that kind of gravitated me towards masterminds, and it was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And it really turned me on to what a mastermind group is. And his philosophy is a little bit different with a mastermind group, but it's still kind of, it geared me towards, there's other people out there that are more skilled than I am, or have more experience than I am, or have gone through the battles of entrepreneurship or business or family life with business. And I can learn more and grow myself individually as a person and as a business owner faster and better when I surround myself with like-minded people, with people that are, going through the same trials and tribulations that I am, and have overcome some of the same constraints and bottlenecks that I run into as an entrepreneur. So I instantly, knew a mastermind group was probably going to be better for me. And so I did. I started my business, and it was about 9 months in that I actually joined my first mastermind group, where actually, Trevor, you and I met is through a mastermind group. So it's been huge for me in growing, because if you're an entrepreneur listening to this, you know that running a business is not, all sunshine and rainbows. And there's a lot of bumps and valleys that go along with that. So having just a peer system and a group to not only just support you along the way, but also give you tactics and tips and things like that, and just an outlook of somebody you can talk to about it, has made the journey, for one, that much more enjoyable, but for two, just that much easier for me to, grow the business that I've always wanted to grow at the capacity that I've been able to. And it's been huge for me in my business.
Yeah, I mean, anybody that's never really experienced the group atmosphere is missing out. And I think the way that we first got introduced to mastermind groups, and also the way that we're running our mastermind, is in a small group setting. And I think that instantly allowed us to really build a strong relationship, especially you and me. Like, you came in, I mean, young. Like, I mean, we were both young. We're 2 years apart, but the idea is, like, you came in young into the business. It's like his ability to, like, you had a lot of questions and that kind of stuff, and to see you grow over this amount of time is incredible. And to see, like, the speed that the mastermind program gives, because you're able to see other people doing great things and building big businesses, and you're like, I'm not that much different than them. They're not, they put their pants on the same way I do, right? Kind of idea. And so it's like, you're able to see that. So it's allow you, especially as a young business coming in, you're like, okay, like these guys aren't that much different than me. Give me a couple of years and I'll catch up. And I think that's a cool part about the mastermind group, is you get to see people at different levels of their business, versus like just business coaching one-on-one. Like, you only get that experience of the coach, right? Whereas in a mastermind group, you're getting that experience of other people are doing it. Oh man, they're doing this and I can see it. So I think that's an awesome component that goes into the mastermind groups. What do you enjoy? Go ahead.
I think too, with that, Trevor, is not only is it like you almost get the same benefit as you would with business coaching for the most part. There's yes, like a business coach might be able to take you a little bit further down because they're working one-on-one with you, but it's super valuable. Kind of like, to your point, is it not only builds your confidence and mindset to say, like, hey, maybe I really can do some of these things that I want to do because I'm seeing others just like me doing it, but it's that accountability piece too, of, there's a few other individuals that are, essentially counting on you for not only helping them, but also for following through with what you said you were going to do. And that's what I really love about these small settings, mastermind settings and group settings, business group settings are, I've been in bigger ones as well, where it's just like you're one of 100, and like you come up with a bunch of ideas and strategies, and it's fun, but you don't actually know if they're the right things for you. And you don't have anyone there to challenge you or hold you accountable to say, like, listen, Danny, you said this is your constraint, but why are you talking about this over here? Why are you going in that direction? Like, let's bring you back to what you said is important for you, your business, your life. And then just kind of holding me accountable to doing the right things in the right way. Like that's super valuable. And that's something that you can't always get in a big group setting. Like, you can still get just the same kind of ideas and strategies that in a small group setting as you can in a large group setting for, masterminds and business groups. But there's just something about that intimate setting of just a select small handful of people, that are supporting you and guiding you and holding you accountable that you can't get anywhere else.
What is there's a lot of things we enjoy about being in mastermind groups, but can you think of like, what's the one thing that you enjoy the most about being in a mastermind group? Like, what is is it the accountability? Is it in-person meetings? Like, what's the thing that you probably enjoy the most?
I definitely love the in-person meetings. I think, we're pretty blessed, Trevor, that we just had such an awesome mastermind group, and maybe all of them are like that. Who knows? Like, just developed that kind of bond. And again, I think that goes back to like the smaller group settings, is it allows you to just become really good friends with the people in the mastermind. And I think when you get close like that, it just allows you to challenge somebody a little bit more. Where if I see somebody like once a month via Zoom call, and I really don't know that much about them or get to know them, anything there, like, it's hard for me to really, push them and challenge them or really know what's important for them, because they've told me, right? And I know about their life. I know about their home life. I know about all this. So for me, it's, I don't want to cheat the question a little bit, but I think it's a little bit of like having that intimate setting where I can I can really develop a bond with other like-minded individuals and guys that know what I'm going through. And then because we create that bond, it gives me that accountability that I need to actually follow through. Because I think, in my opinion, I think that's probably the entrepreneur's biggest struggle, is bouncing from idea to idea and thinking the next thing's the big thing and the grass is always greener, and not really sticking to anything for a long enough time to actually see it through and be successful with it. That I think the mastermind, especially in the small group setting, that intimate setting, is probably the biggest thing to tackle the entrepreneur's biggest nemesis, the woman in the red dress, if you will, of always trying to find the next thing or the big thing, and just instead just keeping you focused on what really matters and what's important. So for me, it's the bonding in the in-person meetings that translates into more accountability for me to focus on what truly matters.
Yeah, and the thing that you pointed out there, that that's really what we've built the mastermind program, as well as our priority business coaching around, is the conceptual side of like getting people to focus on the main thing being the main thing, which is all entrepreneurs' journey. And like for us, it's definitely, I think we're still in that journey of figuring that out. But we realized that, like, obviously our priority business coaching now is the focus on like getting the focus on the main priority. In our mastermind program, that's another conceptual side too, is like, instead of giving you, okay, come in and just get a new idea, it's like, no, are you working on the right thing? And we're going to talk about that right thing, get you focused on that right thing, hold you accountable to that right thing over the next 3 months. So it's a little bit different than, every mastermind that I've ever been in. I mean, like, you just come, it's just an idea generation thing. Like you said, I don't think entrepreneurs need more ideas. I think that's the thing we do great. Like, we have endless ideas. I think what we struggle with the most is like, what is the right thing I'm supposed to be working on first? And that's the hardest things. We always have trouble finding the right thing. But then from there, who's going to keep me from, like you said, the woman, the red dress, the shiny coin syndrome? Like, who's going to keep me from chasing that thing? And that's where we're trying to really tailor our mastermind program into being like, hey, this is what you committed to for this quarter. Like, I know there's something cool that popped up. Like, we can discuss, is that the new priority? 9 times out of 10, that's probably not going to be the new priority, unless it's something major, like your general manager quits or something like big happens that, like, you got to really pull stop on that. But the idea is, like, for the most part, you're going to have it's going to be less about that. It's going to be like, hey, you're getting a little uncomfortable. You're having to get stuck on some stuff that you're not comfortable working through. You just need to hold to it and work through those things. I think that is when you have 10 other people in a group or 9 other people in the group with you, and you're kind of like, man, like, I've got to come to this meeting and pull my pants down and say, hey guys, I did it again. I tried to change up my priorities and not get the thing done. I'm supposed to be like, no, like, dude, like, and being a male only mastermind, I think there's a component where we call each other out to a level that I don't know if I could always call out in ones that was like
Right.
combined sexes. And so I think in male only, there's a little bit more like, hey, like just like suck it up, buttercup, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And to that point too, like the whole aspect of, the accountability or focusing on the thing, like it's that saying, and I can't remember it off the top of my head, but it's, most businesses don't die from starvation. They don't die from lack of ideas. They die from overconsumption, like overdoing ideas and always bouncing around. And, I can say firsthand, I opened up a second location strictly because I couldn't figure out, and I didn't have the skill set to grow my one location the way that I wanted to. So I was like, oh, the next logical thing is just to open a second location. And I've actually since closed that down because I've built up the right skill set that now I'm able to blow up my first location in the right way. And I get everything that I need from that, if not more than what I thought I would from two. And I think that's the big key. And that's what masterminds can help you understand is entrepreneurs are always looking for the next thing or bouncing from idea to idea. And it's usually just because they lack the skill set to get over that constraint that's in front of them that they don't know how to do. And that's where, holding somebody accountable and having the support and ideas of other people, is how you build that skill set to, kind of overcome. So I think it's hugely impactful for, getting over those humps of, where most entrepreneurs get stuck. So you don't actually have to bounce from idea to idea, and it just helps develop your skills so that you can focus on the one thing.
Yeah, that's the best part about it that I think people miss. They see the ideas component and they get so excited about the ideas component, but the accountability. And we have in our mastermind program, we have a lot more accountability built in specifically. But I think in all masterminds I've ever been in, the accountability is naturally there because it's just the ideas. Like even if you're in maybe a group of 100, I don't know. I've never been in a mastermind of a group of 100, so I really don't know if that could be there. But if you're in a small enough group where where you actually have to talk to other people and make a commitment to other people, that instantly creates a level of accountability you can't have. Especially coming from the fitness industry, we're used to that idea of that accountability is really just like you being able to look somebody else in the other eyes and like, did I do what I was supposed to do?
Yeah. And Trevor, we've recently changed our personal, so we're still in a mastermind, right? Like we're not just talking about it, we're still living it. And we just recently changed our format and put more focus on the accountability. And I love the approach that we're taking with it. I think it's made a huge impact for me personally. And, with how we do it, like I just had a call with my accountability buddy essentially last night. And it gives you such better context of, what's important. And then like having not only a group or a peer of people, but also that one individual that you're working with one-on-one as essentially like your accountability buddy and coach, just to ensure that you take it to your next level. And it's very hard not to get to that next step when it comes to, what your goals are when you have that in place.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great like segue there. And conceptual side for like our mastermind program, the Brotherhood program is designed around what we've been doing in our personal mastermind with our buddies for a few years and like figuring out what was working and what wasn't working. And so we found out that like the big ideas just weren't working anymore, meaning like none of us were lacking big ideas and we all had big enough businesses where it's like we don't need more ideas, we just need to get really really good about doing the things that we're supposed to be doing. Like the habitual stuff was like being missed, right? And that's when we brought in the accountability component, being like, here's your one priority, or 1 to 3 really, but really your one priority, here's the thing you need to focus on, is either a habit or a project or whatever it is, and move that part forward. And then having your accountability brother, your buddy, that's going to hold you accountable over this 3 months. So what we do is we pair people off inside the group, two together. So they have that person at that one check-in point. We still have our virtual meetings, all that kind of stuff. There's text groups, all that good stuff. But the idea is that other person is like your true accountability person that like, hey, this person's going to check in with me. We're going to like bounce off each other ideas. And that came honestly from the fact that like we had gotten to the point that the mastermind program became a little less valuable when it was just ideas all the time, because eventually you just either stop showing up. I don't need any more ideas this month, blah, blah, blah. The live ones are always super valuable. I'm talking about like the stuff in between live ones, like as the virtual stuff became a little bit stagnant. And because of that, that's when we built in the accountability program, was to create the value. And I think that has instantly, that's where I was like, okay, this mastermind program that we're building now at the Brotherhood needs to have this component because of how impactful it has been on our ability as CEOs to be managing that stuff. So what can you share a memorable moment or experience from the mastermind group that stands out to you? Anyone over the time that you've been in them?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a couple ones that are, so I guess I'll answer this in two separate ways, because I think the mastermind personally for me has a impact on my life in multiple ways. So one is the brotherhood, the bonding, the friendship, so I think just, I could say a million different ones of getting together, where just getting together on a, quarterly or every 6 months kind of basis, and getting with like-minded people that share the same values, going through the same struggles, is really amazing. And I mean, even just our last meeting that we went to St. Petersburg, Florida, and like we went axe throwing, we went to the beach, or like the pier, and there's all of those settings. Because we always incorporate some type of event or thing after a meeting. Like my wife always says, she's like, you guys probably just hang out the whole time. No, we get to work. Like we're there, we're meeting heavily and hashing things out, but we also like to experience life together too. And so, I mean, I think just the events and the little things that we do outside of the meetings are super memorable for me. I mean, we've done axe throwing, we've gone to the beach, we've done bar hopping, right? And Trevor, you don't even drink, you know what I mean? But we get together, we do different things, what's that called? The golfing thing.
Golfing thing, like
Yeah,
Top Golf.
yeah, Top Golf. Like we've done Top Golf, like we've done all these different things. So that's always super memorable to me. I just can't remember the name to it, I guess. But and then the other is like the business thing. And I remember, I actually remember probably one of the ones that there's a couple for me that like had a really red light, where I'm just like, wow, I'm trying to do too much. That was very memorable for me. I think it was 2 years ago at one that we did, but I actually remember, Trevor, the one that sticks out to me the most is actually you. And I remember it was one of my first ones I ever went to. I think it was like my third or fourth one. And I don't think I've ever seen somebody have a light bulb moment or an epiphany as much as you did when, I remember we were in, what was it? I think it was either Indy or Kentucky. And we were in that small little room with that giant table, I remember. And, we were talking about like, you developing, skill sets in team or partners and things like that. And you came to that kind of realization. You're like, okay, I'm the way I'm going about it isn't the way that I think I should be. And we kind of like you were hard pressed on a certain thing. And we kind of just through questioning and just challenging you completely flip things. And I actually think you've leveled up yourself so much more from that conversation that is been pretty cool to watch. I think it's because you're very stubborn, which I love about you, usually in a good way, but it's, you kind of really, you trusted the people questioning you, that it wasn't ill intent, and allowed yourself to, kind of open up to the opportunity for a different perspective and a different solution. And you did, after that, completely change your business. And what happened with that, shortly after. So like, I think that was, even though it wasn't me personally, I think seeing that and how much it's impacted you to get you to where you are now, because you're in an awesome situation now, and really enjoying your life. And I don't think if, sure, maybe you would have got there, but I think that was really, in my opinion, that kind of first stepping stone to you realizing like, is this really the life I want? Am I really doing the things that I want to be doing? And is this the route that I want to go with that? Right. And that was super cool to see. And, I don't think you can get that anywhere else, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, there's two things that came from that specific meeting for me. One was there was a first moment where I decided I didn't have to be the smartest person in the room anymore, meaning like I was fighting tooth and nail to be the smartest person in the room because we were still young. It was still the idea that like, you just want to be. So that was that probably the breaking moment for me. It was like, okay, cool. I can sit back and like, I trust these guys enough to really take in. And that's when the mastermind group really became valuable to me to a whole nother level than I could ever imagine, because I finally stopped trying to be the smartest person in the room. And I think that's, for anybody that ever listens to this, like, and that's one of the things we want is like not people come in not wanting to be the smartest person in the room, but I've been there. I've been the person that wanted to be, like, forced themselves to be, was stubborn enough to not to do that stuff. And that opened up. And the other thing I took from that was I finally stopped trying to live the life I thought I wanted to based on how my dad had built his life. So my dad's a very successful entrepreneur, and I had these expectations of chasing down his what he's built, right? And that was a moment when I was like, I was trying to build this humongous, like 10 facilities, all this kind of stuff. And I was trying to have all these things. And I was trying to build this thing so fast at such a young age. And what had happened to me is all of a sudden is like, I was only chasing that stuff to level up to my dad's level. And all of it instantly is like, okay, I left my dad's company, which I was running it at a young age because I didn't want to live that life anymore. Then I went off and built a whole other company that put me right back in the same situation I was before. And that was a moment when all of a sudden I was like, okay, now I'm going to build the best personal life I can and have business work around that. And that's what gave me, like, in a sense, permission to move to Arizona. At the time, it took me a while to figure out where to move to, but like move to Arizona and build the life that we're, building with Level Up and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I appreciate you bringing that up because that was a big meeting for me that when I look back and kind of realize like it was a very hard meeting for me because I was kind of like, it was the first time I really let myself be truly open. And so, yeah, it was a good one. And I'm glad that stuck with you a little bit because it definitely stuck with me.
Yeah, it was pretty fun to watch. Like just sitting there watching it throughout, I was like, wow, this is really cool. And then seeing your change and your shift over time after that. And I think even just kind of one more point on that is, for me, like, I'm in a unique situation now that, I'm building my business and it's going well. I'm not quite out of the day to day. There's still some things I have to get organized, but I'm getting to a position that I am going to be able to and really dive more into Level Up and things like that, and the mastermind, the brotherhood. And that's really important to me, but it really wasn't. Like, I really feel I wouldn't be able to do that if I didn't have a mastermind group. And in particular, even Trevor, even you, like, with helping me through this process and helping me prioritize and holding me to it and different things there. Cause I very much fall into the entrepreneur category of bouncing around and going from idea to idea and trying to do it all at once. And I have the ego that I can do it. I'm the smartest man in the room, right? Like, I can do all of this. I can outwork anything. And then nothing really moves forward because I have that mindset. So if I didn't have that trust in you, or you didn't have that knowledge of me and what's important to me, and the trust to be able to challenge me at the same time, that would have never happened if it wasn't for a mastermind group. And I wouldn't be here in this situation of having a successful business and being able to get out of the day to day to do other things that I'm passionate about and I love, and work with people I love working with. You know what I mean? So it's again, the mastermind has led to so many other things for myself, for you, in business, but also mentally, and, growing that aspect of our lives, and growing as an individual and a person. And then just the social and bonding thing it's just unmarked. Like, it's hard to put it into words, but it's something that, you can't get anywhere else besides intimate, small group, business group, or mastermind like that.
Yeah, it's there's two things you said there. One was the fact that, like, the cool part that's kind of underestimated in mastermind group is not everybody in the group's the same. We all have like very different skill sets, even though we're all running, in our masterminds, mainly fitness businesses. And so because of that, it's like, okay, we all have, people would imagine from the outside in, we all the same people. Our skill set's completely different. Like, my skill set is like very like detail organized, like everything's organized, everything detailed that way. And yours is more like idea driven. And like, if you get an idea, you're just going to go full force at it. And I'm the opposite, where I'm like, I've got to put all the pieces in place to be able to go after it. The cool part is we're able to then share those skill sets and be able to have conversations about, hey, like with you, like, okay, Danny, like, you have 1,000 ideas. I'm great about taking 1,000 ideas and organize them into like what's valuable versus not valuable. So then I'm able to like discuss that with you and bring that down. But you also motivate me to be like, okay, Danny gets an idea and he runs full force with it and doesn't even think twice about, man, am I not supposed to be doing this? Whereas I'm the person that's evaluated like 10,000 times, be like, okay, should I be doing this? And that speed that you enter with forces me to, okay, I got to come with a little bit more speed this way. But then with Danny, I need to like make sure that I pull him back to get him concentrate on the right thing so that he doesn't run, put the ladder up against the wrong wall and start chasing up that wall and get kind of like the second location, right? You get all the way up that ladder and like, oh crap, I didn't want to be on this ladder. I want to be back on the ladder I was on before. And so I think that's where the mastermind group is. And, we're all going to be stubborn. Like I remember in the moment when you and Joe both were building your second locations, and we're kind of like, maybe you shouldn't be doing this, but like, if you're going to, like, I'm going to support you every step of the way. So your mastermind group's not going to stop you from being who you are.
Right.
You just got to hope that there's enough advice that you can listen to. And sometimes you just got to be like, oh, I screwed up. So
yeah. And for me, I had to kind of learn it and experience it, but it's hugely valuable. And that's why you and I mesh so well together is because we have different skill sets. And that's what makes a mastermind group, a business group, that powerful, because everyone's going to be coming in with different experience, different knowledge, different skill sets, and just different philosophies, or just not even philosophies, more traits, right? Where I tend to just like, I'll let future Danny worry about it. I'm going to dive in and I'm going to do it. And you're more methodical and doing it in the right way and prioritizing it, right? So you combine both of us, and you got a pretty wicked beast there to prioritize the right things and then put fuel to the fire with it. And that's what you'll get out of mastermind groups, which I love.
Yeah. So after being in a mastermind, 8 years, how has that impacted your personal life as well, with the personal growth, with just like your personal family life? What has improved on that part of your life as well?
Yeah, I think, one thing that's pretty cool about a mastermind group and entrepreneurship in general is, you have to develop skills, especially in fitness business. You just really have to develop certain skill sets. And I would say the biggest thing that mastermind has done for me personally is it's just developed my confidence as an entrepreneur and at home, meaning I've developed so many skills because of the relationships and the strategies and the conversations that we've had. That's forced me to develop skills and hold me accountable to developing skills, that it's given me a skill set that, God forbid, like something happens that I'm no longer running the gym or whatever it is, or we don't have level up. Like I have such great skills. I could go anywhere I want and find a job or whatever it is that pays really well. Like, so I'm set for life essentially, right? Like for the most part, because of the skills I've developed from a mastermind. So it's given me the confidence or peace of mind to know that, to allow me to say, like, you know what, it is okay. Like, my churn rate wasn't how it should be this month, or I didn't hit the revenue mark that I wanted to, or whatever it is. Like, it is okay. Like, it's not the end of the world, because I know absolute worst case scenario, I have so many skills to back on that I'm going to be fine. Right. And the other aspect is it's helped me at home in my home life for the purpose of, again, because I have better prioritization and I have the accountability of focusing on the right things. And I have the outlet to, if I'm stressed, like I can go to you guys and talk about it, right? I don't want to do that to my wife. I don't want to bring that home to my family. So having that outlet to talk about and, work through and just converse about issues and struggles I'm having to just make me feel better, but also to, know that I'm doing the right things in the right way because I have other people helping me with that, is really helpful for the mindset and the psychology and just the mental health, really, of not being as stressed because of that. And that was huge for me. Like I don't think I even realized some of the, the, what's the word I'm looking for? The like insecurities, I guess, that I had, getting into business. And I think business really like opened them up and exposed them a lot more because there's so much risk involved in it. And the mastermind has just helped ease some of those insecurities. Like they're still there and I still get stressed, but like having a group of guys that I can talk with through and hold me accountable to the right things just eases my mind and gives me more clarity, that I know I'm doing the right thing and I'm doing them in the right way. And that's super helpful for my mental health and just, my stress and things that come with, running a business.
Yeah, I think obviously developing the skills as a fitness business owner for sure, but a true entrepreneur, like I never once worry about if the business does fail, what's going to happen. Because like you said, not to be cocky, but I believe any of us, especially in our mastermind, could walk into any building, any business in this thing and add value to them in like seconds. You know what I mean? Like they're like, holy cow, you know how to do all of that stuff. So that's an awesome thing to develop over time. And I think being in the mastermind group has continued to help me do that because I see the skill sets everybody else has. And that forces me to continue to keep learning things. And like, we'll like, here's a book or here's a course I took. Like we just continue to like level each other up. And then on the personal side, like I think we've really started to get more and more into that over the last year in our mastermind group of like true personal stuff. Like I remember not this last meeting, but the meeting before that, we got pretty personal on some like big topics, multiple nights. And I think that was eye-opening to me in the mastermind group too, that I think men are missing that. That's why I wanted to do a male only group as well, as because I think there are conversations that you just can't have with other people in the room, and you need to get deep into them. You have to be a true safe space, right? You have to trust the people you're talking to and be okay with the fact that they're not, this is just going to be between us. But two, it's like you got to be in the same like atmosphere that like that's why it's the men's side. It's like I can say kind of anything and nobody's going to feel judgment about this, or nobody's going to feel judged either about this. And I think that part has been a cool part of it. And I think with the brotherhood, that was like a big component. I want to make sure that we bring into that component or that business is the fact that like we're going to have a lot more. That's why we call it the 10 domains, because business is one of the domains. We have all these other domains in life that we need to be focusing on to be the best version of ourselves. And the gurus out there would just say, just keep doing more business, you'll make more money, you'll be happy. And every entrepreneur out there's like, that's bullshit because it's not working for me and I'm making enough money. And so then you start to realize I'm going to pay attention to the other domains. Like, okay, I've started to see happiness when this one came up or when these three came up. And so I think that personal life is a really important equation that gets missed. And I think in the mastermind group, we are getting better in our mastermind group of talking about that stuff, but I think it's going to be something I'm going to keep pushing harder and harder to make sure that we really talk about. That's why it's like sometimes I would say we're not even a mastermind program. We're like a men's group that talks about business. Like there's more components to it than just business. Now, business is a big component of it for sure, and I don't want anybody to get that wrong. But I want it to be closer to like a 50-50 component than just be all business all the time. Because if other parts of your life are off, you just aren't going to make more money because something's going to pull you down. That's going to force that. So we need to have everything kind of at least coming up at the same time. So.
Yeah. And if I didn't have you guys, I would be probably in a world of hurt with my family. Cause I'm aware of it obviously, but like I tend to just keep grinding, put my head down and struggle to bring my head up at times, and if it wasn't for you guys holding me accountable to things like that, my whole, wheel of life, if you will, and balance, of everything going on in my life, because it obviously is more than business, would probably be in a world of shambles. So, I'm definitely appreciative to have, a group of guys like you guys to, kind of help me with that.
Can you give an example of a specific challenge you faced and how the mastermind group helped you overcome it?
Yeah, I'll kind of speak on what I'm doing currently, because you and I had this conversation, recently, and I said, I don't think in the 8 years I've been in business, anything has been more valuable than what I'm doing right now. And what that is reprioritizing and getting really, really good, taking a little bit of Trevor on and becoming more efficient with what should I be focusing on, instead of trying to do all these different things and just like, oh, here's an idea, let's run with it, even though it was not even in my agenda today, and just restructuring my format, and then, of how I prioritize. And then you and I were actually accountability buddies last quarter, and you helped me set up a process, you helped me with a system, and then, you held me accountable, because that's the biggest thing, right? Like, I knew I needed to do that. I just didn't have the accountability or the structure in place to do it consistently. And it's opened up a ton of opportunities. I'm already starting to see massive growth in my business because I'm focusing on the right things in the right way, and I'm allocating my things, and I'm still working on this. This is like, it's not done yet. It's not like a set it and forget it thing. Like, it's still a work in progress to build it out. But like, I would say the most impactful thing for me in the 8 years has really what I've been doing the last 4 months. And that is, set a priority structure of what it is I should be focusing on, and time blocking it in my calendar for set times and set focuses during those times. And then only focusing on those during those times, and cut it out in the deadline, and then move to my next time block, whatever that is. And then the biggest thing was having your accountability and our meetings and conversations of, am I following through with it? And if not, why? What's the issue? What are you running into? And having those consistent conversations is definitely been the the most impactful for me personally, much more than any type of marketing strategy or this or that. Cause I have 5,000 of those a day, like it's really about, getting my focus back to a singular focus consistently that is already starting to make more impact than I could ever imagine.
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome. And it's based on what you've been working on is how I designed the priority focused business coaching, because after you're going through it and seeing how impactful it is on somebody at your scale, and then working a couple other clients that we have that I'm doing business coaching with and seeing them doing really well in life, and then all of a sudden adding this on and they're like just on fire because now they actually feel like they were growing good businesses, but like they just felt like something was off. Kind of like with you, you're growing a great business, but just felt like, man, it's a rat race. And I think I sometimes underestimated how good I am about having things like I just it's a skill. It's like you're just learning it now. I've been practicing this, like getting my priority focus like over 10 years or probably even longer. And so I have such a good process now. It's like you read all the books and you can go through Michael Hyatt stuff, you can go through Darren Hardy's stuff, all those guys. But the problem is like you said, without having somebody actually like force you, here's the plan. You have 1,000 plans out here. Like the plan that we use, I think, is a little bit simpler than most. But like it's the idea is like, here's the plan. Now follow through with that plan consistently. And that's where priority focused coaching came from, honestly, was the fact that I think the entrepreneur issue is like when your first 5 years, maybe you don't need to have that, right? Maybe it's just like pure piss and vinegar is going to get you there, right? You're just going to be full. You're just going to have so much fire under your belly that you're going to make it survive. But then after that point, you've got to have that something that's going to like get you to be working on the right things. It's big enough that the scale matters. And so I think now you're at that point, or other business owners are at that point, that it's important to get really focused on that. So it's cool that that's been so impactful for you, because I've seen it. I've heard, working with you, I've seen it improve you, but also it's changed our business a little bit, because I kind of in certain ways wanted to avoid business coaching in many ways. And then I realized like I do have a world-class skill that I'm not sharing with others that maybe need this skill more than other things that we're doing. And I realized, man, like it can be so impactful because you look at these other business owners, you think they're doing awesome, but you guys don't realize the rat race they're running. And I'm over here like my day's an 8 to 5 day, kind of easy in a sense, because everything's so focused and I know what I'm supposed to be working on that I don't feel overly stressed. And everybody else out there, man, I can't manage a minute in my day. And I'm like, dude, like, how are you running a business? And you're running it strictly on pure energy. You're not running on anything else. So
That's all it is. But it's a rat race, like you said. Like there's so many times I get burnt out, right? Because I'm trying to, run on fumes when I could easily make it that much easier, which I'm getting to now, which has been huge. Not only personally, or not only business wise, but personally, you know what I mean, for my family, which is nice.
well, there's a quote I heard. I don't remember what the quote was exactly, but pretty much it comes down to being is like the most productive people in the world are the laziest people in the world.
Yeah.
Because what we want to Yeah, what we want to do is be lazy. So I'm going to find every way to make it so I can be lazier and lazier. I love the fact that I work from 8 to 5 and feel very little stress, because I've systemized so many things that like I don't even have to think twice. Like this is what I'm supposed to be doing, and it's like that. Yeah, that's where the productivity comes in. So it's like giving somebody to help. Like my natural lifestyle is built to be lazy, and so it's like I have that skill set. You might not have that one, so that leads into that, which would be the opposite of what you mostly think people would be. But it is. I'm naturally, I want to be as lazy as I can. I'm focused, but at the same time, I don't want to have to overthink things. So that helps out a lot. Okay, so in-person events, what do you love about attending in-person events? So there's the business side and the personal side. You talked about that a lot already. I think the personal side's kind of self-explanatory, but I would love you to dive into like what happens in your 1 hour session. What happens in the business meetings that you love the most about being in person?
Yeah, the in-person meetings, obviously they're my favorite. Just getting together with guys, the social part of it is a blast. It's fun. It's something I just can't get at home, but the other side of it is that time block that's dedicated strictly to me, where you have, 4, 5, 6, up to 9 guys there, just, getting clarity on what's important for me, what's important for my business, what's truly the constraint that I'm running into, what's truly the problem, how do I know that's the problem, and then how, like, helping me, through questions, understand what is the constraint, and then help me develop a strategy to get out of that constraint. right? So it's not just like, oh, I want to grow my business. How do I do it? It's this is what's getting in my way. This is my big wall in front of me. Help me overcome what that looks like, and how do I do that? So I think having multiple people, but not too many people. And because it's in an intimate setting, people that know me truly and know who I am, what I'm about, what's important to me personally, can really help me develop what truly I should be focusing on, my priorities, and how to overcome the current constraint. And 9 times out of 10, I usually come back at the next meeting with that improved because of that clarity and that thing. But again, I think if it wasn't like a true, like intimate mastermind, like a small group setting, I don't think I could get that same level of benefit, because I would just be in a sea of a bunch of people that didn't really know me truly. So they're only going to be talking about their perspective and their experience, and just sharing it with me, which is fine. But if they don't really know me and what's important to me, then what they're telling me might not actually help me, right? Because it might steer me away from my core values, or away from my long-term goal, or away from like my family, for instance, right? And that's because I have that intimate setting with you guys. It allows me to do it in a way that, you guys really know what is best for me, and you guys truly care about me, because we've grown so tight knit in a bond that you have no skin in the game, meaning like you have no like benefit to me being successful, right? But you just truly want to see me be successful. And that's so, so powerful for moving myself forward, because you guys are just solely focused on me and how to help me. And because you guys care and you have the skills and understand what I'm going through, that's priceless. Like I can't, money can't buy that. And I don't think I'd ever do a different kind of mastermind outside of a small group type setting like this, because you get the benefit of being in like a little group and having extra friends and different people and perspectives, but it's not too big to where like it's not intimate, and you don't get that personal aspect to it to really help me personally, not just on the outside looking in what might make sense for my business.
Yeah, I always hear about those. I don't know, like, would you call them? I don't even call them masterminds, the bigger ones, right? Because, but that's just because we know a different version of masterminds. I think that's why most people don't realize there are type of masterminds we're talking about. So people might be just used to those idea generators, but they put people on a hot seat in front of everybody. And like you said, nobody knows anything about their business. So if you're not secure as yourself as a business owner, and you're not sure what plan you're going on, that person could reroute your whole plan in like 10 minutes. And all of a sudden you're going down a whole different path than you meant to go, because you're not secure in who you are. And that's always been like the cool part about our mastermind, is that part where it's like we know each other well enough. And when somebody says something that's off that plan, and that person's like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. And you're like, hang on a second. Like somebody else might be like, hang on, that doesn't apply with the vision that you said you had at all. And like, do we need to talk about what your vision is? And then you kind of get them recaptured. Okay, yeah, I guess that's a cool idea, but yeah, it doesn't really fit down this path. And we're able to catch that component, because entrepreneurs get excited, and you need other people to be like, hey, hold on, like, yeah, that's a cool idea. It's a really cool idea. But let's use fitness as an example, but you run a private fitness facility, and now you're talking about adding group to your facility, and you shouldn't be adding group, because that's not what you do. You don't even enjoy it. Why would you add it? Because it's more money. So I do think that's an important component of that small group setting, and being in those live meetings, of getting like grilled in a different way. Because I've a lot of live meetings have those, like what they call hot seat ones, but it's not the same as like 9 other people knowing everything about you, versus like 40 individuals that know nothing about you being like, oh yeah, here's a random idea that I just thought of, so that might work. Like, oh yeah, that could work. And then you spend 3 months doing it, like, oh, that didn't work. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and got one more question for you before we wrap up for the day. So can you talk about the role of accountability, and just having like, I guess we talked about accountability a little bit, but really like the connection that you have with people outside of the mastermind group. So mastermind members, like the connection that you have with them, and the way you keep in touch with them outside of the mastermind group meetings, of the virtuals and the lives. How valuable is that to you?
Are you saying like outside of the structure of the accountability meetings, or within the structure of the meetings?
outside of the structure. So I'm talking about not in person. I'm talking about like either texting, being able to have these people at your availability, these
Yeah.
other 9 other entrepreneurs
Yeah.
that you could text in a moment and know, or call in a moment and know they're going to get back to you in a relatively quick time. It's just an amazing thing to be able to reach out to these other high performing business owners and
Yeah.
have like them on speed dial in a sense,
Right.
right? To be able to like get a hold of it. Like how impactful is that? And how much do you feel like being able to utilize that has helped you?
Oh, I mean, that's Trevor, that's like that's price in and of itself. Like, you know what I mean? To have 24-hour essentially access to skills, to development, to, help me with just easing my stress and talking through stuff, right? And like, how can I navigate this situation? I need help, blah, blah, blah. Like having that on like anytime I want, any day of the week, and the fact of you guys truly know me and what I'm about. I've said that a million times already, but like all that, like, and you guys just send me a bunch of texts or did like we just did this the other day with me. I had a situation, I asked for help, and you guys gave me a ton of different stuff and bulleted it out, and we talked through it and everything there, and I solved the situation. You know what I mean? In a matter of a day, that would have maybe taken me 6 months on my own. You know what I mean? Because I'd be trying to do this or fit it in over here or whatever it is. Like that is so invaluable, and just the fun part of it too, right? Like we text all the time, literally all the time. Sometimes it's about business, sometimes it's about sports, sometimes it's about this, sometimes it's about that, right? So not only having that peer group that's fun and engaging, and takes the stress away, just doing something you enjoy and being around and talking to people that you enjoy being with and talking to, but also having the aspect of I can literally text Trevor or the group or Joe or whoever's in our group anytime I want, and get so much value that you'd have to pay hundreds, if not thousands of dollars from a coach to get is it's priceless. It's you can't, like, those are the type of things that are very, very, very difficult to find anywhere else. I've had business coaches. I can't do that with them, right? I'll message them, and I message them a ton, but it might take them 2-3 days to get to me, right? And they still don't necessarily know me truly, right? Like a lot of business coaches out there, you know what I mean, So the fact that I can do it at any point and not even have to think twice about it or feel bad about it, right? And I know you guys are gonna, look out for me or get back to me, anything there. It's just so invaluable. I can't even explain, how important that is to me, and how much I enjoy just the camaraderie of that.
Yeah, I mean, just from the business perspective, it's like having 9 other business coaches in your pocket, right? In a sense, like it is something I think we take for granted in our mastermind groups, so not even realizing how special it is. And it is one of those things where it's like I don't want people to be nervous that all of a sudden they're texting all the time because they're in a mastermind group. And it's not like it's all the time, but it's just like when you have a power thing, it's like the people in the group have invested in you, because the key is obviously you're investing in them too. You're not somebody that's just a taker, you're a giver as well. But the idea is you see so much value in that time. And it's such like an awesome component to have that in your pocket all the time. Like for my business coach, if I wanted to text him, like it's going to cost me, money to text him for him to research or whatever it is. I don't get that for free. And so it's the idea is like, well, in our mastermind group, like you're technically paying a certain price, but like these other people are going to be at your disposal because they want to. It's not a hassle. Like it's never a hassle when you send me something. I'm like, oh my God, Danny, text me again. It's more along the lines like I got to hold off and make sure I focus on what I'm supposed to be working on, and then answer Danny later on, because my instinct is like I want to give you feedback as soon as I can to add value, but I also know that for my discipline, I need to stay focused and not do it. But it's such a cool part that I think anybody that's never been and very few people have probably been in an intimate group like we have.
Yeah.
And I've been I know in other groups that I know that are like small like this, they don't really have that same texting component. But I do think with our mastermind groups is an important component to it, because like you said, the camaraderie is really good, the value you get from the other person. And it's just like, it just makes you just seem so much more invested in the process.
Yeah, to your point, I literally have a text from you, Trevor, because you asked me a favor, and I left it unread until I had a couple minutes to actually dedicate time to it, right? So that's the epitome of what we're talking about. Is instead of just shooting you over a quick message just to get you out of here, right? I leave it unread until I have good quality time to actually dedicate to it. So I'm not just giving you fluff, you know what I mean? Like I'm actually going to give you value, and that's kind of what it breaks all down to. And another thing that's really helpful in like the text groups and things like that is like, you might say something or ask questions that like it doesn't pertain to me in terms of like, it might not be something I'm dealing with right now, but all of a sudden 3 months down the road, I'm going through the same situation. I'm like, oh yeah, there's that text. Like I remember when Trevor was dealing with this, like, here's how he handled it. Here's what the guy said. And I already have it solved without even having to text you because we've had these conversations before. And that's, again, like so powerful. It's almost like you read a whole book and just from, doing a text group, it's pretty cool to watch and see in action.
Yeah. And the thing I think about, it's communities everywhere, right? You can join a community group on Facebook or all this kind of stuff. And you just get a bunch of you spend a lot of time on a lot of bullshit, honestly. People asking questions are like, gosh, this question's been asked 1,000 times. Now, when you have your intimate group of people, it's like, we're only asking important questions. You don't go over things that have already been gone over. It's like you're on new things. So it's like, it's just so valuable to have those 10 high level entrepreneurs that are like, I've never witnessed anything else. I've never been part of anything else. So it might be more common, but I'm guessing it's not very common. But I just couldn't imagine having that tight knit group of people to have all the time at your disposal, along with the virtual meetings too, where you get a ton of value. The in-person meetings, they're two of my favorite, we do them for 2 days at a time, but they're four of my favorite days of the year, honestly. I love vacation with my wife and that kind of stuff. But I look forward to October and roughly February and March every year because I know that time's going to be coming. And if it wasn't for the fact that travel is not the easiest thing, I'd love to do it more often, but 2 times a year is it's the best. It's amazing time. So. Okay, let's go ahead and wrap this up for the day. Danny, I really appreciate the time. Main thing I want you to leave with today is, can you give somebody that's considering joining a mastermind group, what would be some advice they do need to be looking for in a mastermind group and why they should join one?
Yeah, it's, I think we've kind of talked a lot about the benefits of it, but I think if you're stuck in a situation or you're an entrepreneur and you're ready to level up your business or you're ready to level up personally, and you're just going through that hamster wheel, that roller coaster ride of ups and downs and ups and downs and just kind of just feeling burnt out and stressed and not having anywhere to go, I think it's a no-brainer. I think not only is it going to help you level up your business and grow as a business owner, grow your business, provide more for your family, and get the flexibility and freedom that you deserve, but it's also going to help you level up as a person, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, all aspects of life. It will improve because it's not just about the business. And that's the whole benefit of it is I've leveled up so much in my life because of a mastermind small business group that if I didn't invest in it, I have no idea where I'd be, but I can guarantee you I would be nowhere near as far as I am in business and in life if I didn't have that core group of people that I bonded with to, support me along the way and, kind of hold me to the fire and hold me accountable. So I think if you've kind of just been stuck on that hamster wheel and struggling to figure out how to get to the next level, I can assure you, this is the answer for you. And, find those like-minded people with you to support you, and you'll finally be able to get out of that hamster wheel.
All right, guys. Danny, thank you for your time today. If you guys if you're a male entrepreneur and you want to join the Brotherhood Beyond Business group, please go ahead and contact us via DM. You can look at our website, levelupbusiness.com. You'll find it there as well, or .co, sorry. You can find us there as well. But any way you want to reach out to us, we'd love to have you join our group. We have one opening up in fourth quarter this year of 2024. So if you're interested, please reach out. Have a great day, guys.